Oh, there goes Berger strutting into 2018 like, yes. That's right, baby. I am back. I know it's been a hot minute since there's been a new video from me, but you know what? It's January 2nd. Awesome time for a fresh start. So you know what? Let's just do this. So this is more of a vloggy, casual chat style video because I just really wanted to talk about 2017 with you guys. But also I am experimenting more with new video types this year. So if you like this kind of casual convo, let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, I am Brittany Berger, Chief Content Unicorn at BrittanyBerger.com, where I help online B2B businesses create smarter content to grow their audiences like crazy. Make sure to subscribe below for more of my content marketing tips, business advice, and on-point pop culture references. So like I said a second ago, it's January 2nd, and I hadn't really planned on recording this, but I've been trying to write a year-end recap for a few weeks now, and it just wasn't working. And last night, I was watching the episode of Grace and Frankie, where Frankie tells Grace something like, "You're gonna have to vlog it. When you vlog, you become your own personal therapist. Drunk vlogging yields nonsense." And all that other, Lily Tomlin comedy gold. And I thought, you know what? Praise Grace and Frankie. I am gonna vlog this out. I've been having, what's the best way to say this? A shitload of feelings about my business lately. It is my first full year working for myself, like my second year in business at all, and I ended out 2017 not being able to cross any of my big goals off of my resolutions list. And for a type A all the way planner, the rare organized unicorn who actually normally does meet all her goals, that hurt. That made me feel like I sucked. And I was already feeling like I sucked. So that was just really awful, avalanche of awful. So when I realized that, it really stung. But when you roll it a different way, any number of different ways, I had a really amazing year. And since I do always try to look for the sparkly and glittery side, those are the parts I want to talk about with you today. Today, I am going to talk with you about some of the really big lessons that I learned last year, some of the things that I still am really on the struggle bus with, and some of the exciting plans that are coming your way this next year. So first, lessons learned. I learned a lot of new things. Both like the hard skills, like I learned how to edit video and video marketing and YouTube for this here gem. But then also a lot of life lesson-y type stuff that are much harder to get to stick into your brain. But some things, they stuck. They stuck and they're there and I'm excited about it. For example, I learned that plans change and that's cool, but still have a plan. I tend towards planning, over planning everything, but then I tend to swing too far the other direction and I'm just winging it. The right place to be is really somewhere in the middle. Having a plan, knowing that it can change, and having a plan B, which we'll talk about in a second, but still really having a plan and working off of some kind of schedule at all times. Still working on that. This is something that I could have done better when I left my day job. Back in January, taking my business full time isn't even something I wanted to do. But things changed, my health changed, and suddenly around March, that was the best idea, and I realized that I wanted to do that as soon as I could. And so I threw out all of my plans for the year and I created a new plan. And about a month and a half later, I put in notice. When I shifted course, I didn't just immediately start moving 100 miles per hour in the new direction. Even though I always knew that my plans could change, I still always acted like the current plan was set in stone. And that brings me to another big thing I realized. Do not skimp on your backup plan. Most of us maybe don't give enough thought to the plan B for our original game plans. We say, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'll just take on more clients, or I'll branch out to this, or blah, 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 and just some very, very vague idea. Well, if your entire backup plan is just one vague idea, in the case that you have to actually implement it, you're kind of still screwed. So no. You don't have a backup idea, you have a backup plan. I have a really great Facebook Live where I talked a lot all about this specifically, so I'll link to that in the video description so we can move on. But yeah, have more than a backup idea. Make sure that if at the very last second you have to actually start moving on that plan B, you're good to go. And third, diversifying is everything. I don't just mean diversifying your income, although I do mean that. I do love that. But I mean in everything. In diversifying the brands and people that you follow on social media, the people that you hang out with in real life, the way that you spend your time. 99% of us, I'm sure, could use more variety in our lives. Up until the end of this year, I was always really focused on diversifying my freelance services with things like my courses and products and affiliate marketing and stuff like that. And it was kind of easy to focus on those types of income streams that didn't have immediate payoff when I had a day job that was still paying me. But then once services became the quickest way to get money and I needed that money, I started focusing way too much on a single income stream and kind of lost focus and lost momentum with some of the other areas. And not only did I take a longer term financial hit from that, but I was just also really unhappy because I was doing the same work all day, every day. Even though I was writing and blogging and I love that, it still just wasn't the same. And kind of on a related note, your business can't be everything. You need variety in how you spend your time, and your business probably shouldn't be number one. Even though I am just starting out and it's the time when I'm probably supposed to have that hustle mindset where you'll do whatever it takes, or whatever entrepreneurial BS we're all getting fed. That just wasn't how it was for me. My happiest seasons throughout the year had nothing to do with the most successful seasons in my business. In fact, my most successful months throughout the year in my business were usually the month directly after a month where I spent a lot of energy on things like dancing or learning to bake. I was most motivated and happy in my business when I was spending a lot of time outside of it. And even though business finances were so tough this year, with it being my first year full-time and needing to live off of that income, I am so glad I kept investing in myself outside of my business. And the last lesson that really hit home for me last year was don't just build a support system, fucking use it. So relationships have always been really important to my business. I've always spent, throughout my entire career, I've always spent a lot of time actively building relationships with people. But I've never actually really asked for support from those people, which was silly. Like I'd either be uncomfortable asking for help or I didn't realize I needed it or something like that. But one way or another, I have not really reached out much. But last year I got a lot better at opening up to the people that I'm close with instead of keeping the relationships more surface level and not getting vulnerable on a one-on-one level, and really asking for help from my friends and my network when I needed it. And I know it's such common business advice to say like build a network, build a support system. I just want to remind you, use it once you build it. They're your friends and they're there for you. I wish that I had gone to mine more often this year. Whoa. So yeah, very educational year, but you know, not perfect. So I'm still struggling with a few things, namely, obviously, my health and my business, managing those together. I started my business in the first place so that I could have more flexibility around some health issues, and they'll never stop being a challenge, but I'll always learn new ways to work around them. So that's just what's gonna happen. Next, this is not unique at all, but I still struggle so much with comparing myself to other people on social media who are not even like the right people to compare myself to. It serves no purpose, but I know we all do this. But I spent so much time last year basically building a business that I hated, I now realize, but I was getting caught up in other people, what they were doing. You know, so-and-so launches a membership community and you love them, so does that mean you should launch a membership community? It was less comparing myself and feeling lesser than, and more just getting distracted by things other people were doing that seemed really cool. Especially since I joined a bunch of communities and masterminds and I'm surrounded by all these awesome people doing awesome things. It was really tough to remind myself that it wouldn't be as awesome if I did it. And trying to remember that we have completely different personalities and strengths, and we're each building our own business. And I'm in a better mindset around that stuff right now, but I know that it's gonna be something that comes back and kicks me in the ass again at some point, because it always will. But in 2017, I really lost my voice with my writing. By the end of the year, I was focusing so much on just one-on-one services and nothing inside of my own brand that for the first time in my career, I was barely ever writing under my own name. I'd never done much ghostwriting or copywriting for clients in the past, and it was where I was really focusing a lot on towards the end of the year. And so for the first time, I was writing as other people all the time instead of myself. But when I stopped writing for myself, when I stopped writing in my own voice, it turns out everything else falls apart and I can't write for anyone else as well either. And realizing that and trying to keep motivated about that is part of why I have such a go get it, just do it attitude about this video today, because I know that I need to show up consistently as me, as Berger, 110% unicorn me, to even be able to go write for other people. And writing content for myself is not getting distracted, or it's not focusing on my clients if writing for myself and keeping my voice sharp helps me write for them better. So, how am I showing up this year? I've just talked about that. Seems like a good way to segue into how I am finding and keeping my voice again. This is the most exciting part of the video. So honestly, I don't have firm plans or deadlines or anything or even projects laid out yet, but I am just so revved about the general direction I'm moving in, and I can't wait to have you along for the ride. So what's coming to you? First, I'm still really honing in on nice organized packages that make it super easy to work with me on either creating or repurposing some of your content. Last year, towards the end of the year, I launched several limited time offers for specific packages, and right now I'm kind of taking feedback from those and working on creating the final plans. I also know that I will be creating some kind of resource. What kind of resource? I don't know yet. Something to help all of the other unicorn content creators out there. Something that is not only focused on actually improving your writing skills and finding your voice, but that also is really great for helping you stay consistent with it. And I think that my own little combination of content marketing and productivity magic would make me a really awesome person to help people with that. So it's something that I'm exploring a little bit. And speaking of productivity, the number one main goal for 2017, the one that I did not accomplish, was to rebrand the work brighter parts of my business. Things like my blog and newsletter and e-courses, all of that kind of falls under a separate umbrella from the normal content marketing work I do. And I had really wanted to rebrand it in 2017, but then I realized I don't know what I'm rebranding it to. I worked on that and I figured it out. It's gonna be so amazing. I cannot. It's gonna be so great. I'm so excited, but I'm keeping it secret a little bit longer just to build the anticipation and to make sure that it's not like a stupid, unorganized plan when I share it with you. But I finally figured out how a lot of the different side projects that I've done over the past 5 years all come together into something really awesome. And I will be sharing what that is with you by the end of the quarter, and it will exist by the end of the year. So I'm gonna end it on that high and exciting note. Thank you so much for watching. And before you go, leave a comment below letting me know one big lesson that you learned in your business last year.